You have heard it said, a man had 2 sons. I say to you, 2 boys have a father. And can we just talk about him for a minute? This father has done very well for himself, and he provides generously for his family. He has 2 sons, very different sons, and he knows them and loves them each as they are. They could stand to show a bit more respect and gratitude at times, but mainly the father is happy his sons are safe and well and close to him. The elder son is dutiful and hardworking, gamely following in his father's footsteps, poised to take over the family affairs one day. But not yet. This is the prime of life. The father is delighted that his elder son loves to work with him and learn from him. He teaches his son everything he knows and supports him along his path, giving him every opportunity to expand his horizons and advance his career. Much to his father's delight, the hardworking young man mainly likes to stay close to home and focus his energy on working for the family business and dazzling his father with new ideas for expanding the operations. This son can be overly serious, and the father encourages him to take a break and have some fun. But the boy lives to impress his father, so he rises early and works late with great self-satisfaction, knowing his father is proud of him. The younger son, full of personality, has always been a dreamer and a seeker. He was born with many gifts, his blessing and his curse. I imagine he always sailed easily through school and life, but he doesn't focus for long on any one thing, least of all getting in line behind his brother and learning the family ways. He gets by on his humor and his fun-loving personality. He has a lot of friends and energy, and all his life he has kept his family entertained with his antics and adventures. These brothers like each other's company, perhaps because they're so different, but there has always been an undercurrent of competition. When their father is around, the game is on. The father loves them both so entirely, the brothers can't help feeling a little jealous when the other is the center of attention. One day, the younger boy, wandering spirit that he is, shocks his father with a request that borders on defiance. He wants to move out. He wants to see the world and get some experience. And he's clever, so he makes a case to his father that wouldn't it be a great idea just to give me my inheritance now, while you're still alive, to watch me unfold, watch me really become someone, and you might even save on some estate taxes while you're at it. The father is won over by his son's enthusiasm. He notices some pangs of fear in his chest, but he knows that once this son of his starts dreaming, there's no holding him back. This boy needs to roam. To restrain him would serve no purpose, for the boy has already left him in his heart and mind. Somehow he knows this is the path his son needs to take, painful as it might turn out to be. And to send his son off with nothing just seems ominous and cruel when he has so much to give. It would be tantamount to telling his son he doesn't believe in him, and above all, he believes in his sons. He knows their best qualities. He has high hopes for their potential to become all that they can be. He can't make them do it, but oh, how he dreams of that for his children. So what can he do now but hope for the best and allow this younger son of his to follow his dreams? The father's love outdoes his practicality, so he even gives this son the inheritance that he's asked for. Not without tears, he says goodbye and good luck and watches his son disappear down the highway. And what happens next is well known. The boy spends wildly, squanders everything his father gave him, and comes to ruin. He ends up homeless and hungry enough to steal food from pigs. This is the character for whom tradition has named this story the prodigal son. And yes, we could spend our lives identifying ourselves or even others with this archetype. He steals the show with his colorful personality and his reckless life choices. And the way he comes to his senses, repents, and returns is a lesson for any of us who are prone to wander. It's a great lesson for anyone, especially somewhere about midway through a spiritual life. It's well known in the field of human development that a very natural and even healthy part of life is to venture away from our parents' tether and risk failure in a conscious or subconscious attempt to find ourselves or prove ourselves. It's the time-worn pattern of coming of age, losing one's innocence, and being initiated into adulthood. In more spiritual or psychological, less age-related terms, it's the experience of life thrusting us into maturity through a process of suffering or disappointment or loss. We have to lose in order to find, and we have to get lost in order to be found. It's hard to live more than a few decades without having at least one or two experiences that chip away at our innocence and call us into deeper, more mature ways of living our lives. Not everyone goes all the way down this path. It's hard and it's risky. Sometimes it costs us everything we hold dear. So it's no wonder we don't all go there if we can help it. And not all who are lost have wandered. Sometimes to stay in a situation of familiarity or dysfunction, feeling safely protected from change, is to lose our way without ever leaving home, never venturing down the path of leaving or healing, and we stay stuck. But if we do let our devastations and our losses teach us and shape us and make us wiser, we become people who can understand when others we love need to run for their lives, in the literal sense, into making their own choices, even the wrong ones sometimes. To me, that wisdom is the Father's wisdom in this parable. Clearly, he knows about his younger son's need to wander, even if it leads to failure, even if it leads to miserable failure. The Father knows firsthand the path of risk and suffering to allow the sons he loves so deeply to travel down them too. The Father is at a point in his life when his love trumps all of his children's shortcomings. His love is not the blind, naive kind in which his children can do no wrong. On the contrary, it's the kind of love in which they can do all kinds of wrong, and he still remains there, ready to embrace them and love them into healing. That's the kind of love that makes homecoming possible. In the same way, the sun comes up every morning, regardless of the earth's roiling chaos. The sun doesn't stop rising just because we haven't cleaned up our messes. And we even keep making some of our messes worse, day after day. But the sun keeps coming up, shining its life-giving light, as if holding out hope that new life will replenish the earth. That's what the sun does. It shines, regardless of our ability to make the most of it. One poet puts it this way: even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look, what happens with a love like that? It lights the whole sky. The pathos in this father's restraint, the pathos in his patience and in his watchful eye, waiting for his son's return, and his jubilance when he does come home, running out and throwing his arms around his son's neck, with the love that was always there to begin with, the love that allowed his son the freedom to roam in the first place, and now the freedom to come home. That's what this story is about. The father never says, "You owe me." No wonder his son thought it possible to return home. And the scene of love as the father rushes to greet him lights up the whole sky. It's a contrast to the father's crushing sadness when his older son won't join the party for his returning brother, who was nearly given up for dead. No, the little brother didn't deserve the fatted calf, or the ring, or the new clothes, or the place of privilege in the house. But that's not what this story is about, It's not about justice and deserving. It's about a father's longing for both sons to see themselves as he sees them, and to even see each other as he sees them. It's about the father's longing for both sons to realize there's more than enough love for both of them, as sure as the sun is in the sky, regardless of their attempts to earn it or to argue that one doesn't deserve it. That's what this story is about. The light is just there. The love is just there for each and every one of us, the wanderers and the homebodies alike. The prodigal love of God brings us into being and gives us all we need to live and grow. Just because someone else is getting more than we think they deserve, it does not take away from what is given to us. And the love of God for us is more than we could ever make the most of in our lifetimes. Jesus has one purpose in all his teaching and healing, his death and resurrection and message of peace and forgiveness. And that purpose is to reveal the lavish and limitless, unstinting and unsparing, forgiving and inviting, prodigal love of God. We are all born sons and daughters of God. Part of life is that we will lose our way from time to time, and so will those whom we love. We will squander many of our gifts, and we will resent others who squander theirs. We might even become jealous or angry. But somewhere lighting up the whole sky and waiting to illuminate our vision too is this lavish love of God, enough for everyone, and enough to make any wayward son or jealous daughter into the prodigal father or mother we are all called to become. Amen.